couple that I really was obsessed with watching, which is Lauren and Dave.
Yeah.
Do you want to bring, like, what do you want to say about them before I get into? Start from your thoughts from when we first meet them in the pods, by the way.
Okay. First meet them in the pods. You know, I think really what we're talking about is Dave.
Yeah,
Just
right.
because let's be real.
Let's be honest.
Lauren seems great.
Fine. Yeah.
There's nothing I can say in the best way possible. So when he's first introduced, yeah, he's like making these crude jokes like, "Oh, you're old, so you're not hot anymore." That's definitely like it's a pretty that's like it's a mean joke bordering on mean. I get it. It didn't seem like I don't know. They started right with that, and I was like, oh man, they're building up to not be a good guy.
Mhm.
But in the moment, I just trying to always be understanding. I felt like he wasn't. My hot take is I really don't think Dave was that bad. I really don't
You
think.
don't.
No, I don't. This is my hot take.
Okay.
I don't think he was that bad.
Do you think that him and Lauren were a match? Like when I was sweating. I had to put tissues under my armpits when they were coming out of the room, or, the
Oh,
thing to see each other. Because listen, he's a pretty good looking guy.
sure.
Um, she, I like her a lot. I'm not saying this in a mean way. I did not think he was going to find her attractive. And listen,
Mm,
by the way, she looks amazing. She totally is a beautiful person. Do you know what I mean? But I
yeah.
just thought this is not his type. To me, I see his type as like, very LA, Miami. But, then again, I was putting him on this thing where this guy's a jerk. So he probably just likes jerky girls. Do you know what I mean? And I was thinking that is thinking she's going to look like Pamela Anderson, and she just didn't. Right. So they come out, and I was like, oh God, he's not going to be attracted to her. And he's going to just be mean. Now, he did not do that. He was actually very kind and said she was beautiful and loved her. But here's what I don't understand. What the hell is wrong with this guy? And again, I texted you about this. What kind of a loser sits there and talks about the entire show, her being with someone else because his friends and his sister and everyone else is talking
Yeah.
about it? He's talking about it. He's the only one talking about it. What kind of like he has no self-esteem. I thought it made him look terrible and so insecure. And I just was like, this guy really needs to go to therapy. That's how I felt about it.
I think all of that is true. I think all that is true. I'll add a little. I'll add a little bit. Okay, here's my feelings. First off, I always felt that before we get into the like all the stuff that you said, when he like says like I've always been into women for their looks and superficial because I work at a plastic, I work at like a plastic surgery sales rep or whatever. I saw him getting roasted for that, and I'm like, he's kind of the perfect candidate for Love Is Blind. Like he's also being honest. So I
Totally.
always respect his honesty. He was like, he even kind of said he sort of seemed to imply like I've been a womanizer. I go for women for their looks. This is me. It's
Yeah,
kind of
I
reminds
didn't
me
have a
of
problem with that.
right.
I just didn't think they were going to be a good match.
So when he kept bringing up, so first there was this guy, and I've been seeing on TikTok that this guy, first of all, totally Dave's in the wrong for like not only not trusting Lauren, but not letting him meet his family or sister or friends.
Mhm.
Super
Mhm.
weird. An argument could be made that he never really wanted to be with her and that he just was using it as an excuse. Totally valid argument. I'm on the fence on it.
Okay.
Um, this guy though, I've been seeing him on. He like made his own Love Is Blind poster with like a like. Did you see? He like
No, I don't know anything about it. Wait, so you mean you follow the guy who we're all talking about and he's just known as the guy?
I don't follow the guy, but I have seen on TikTok he has tried to like basically
Become a star.
clout chase from this. It sounds like um from
Yeah.
the like. But here's another thing that small bit of understanding for Dave. That guy lived in the building that they lived during the living part, which they don't really say. Like
Right. I think I heard that
they
too.
mentioned that briefly, which makes
Okay.
it a 1% more understandable. Like it is like, but
But you got to get rid of your jealousy. I mean, quite
100
frankly, and
percent.
I thought what Nick I think said during the reunion was really valid. He was like, "Listen, um is it okay for someone to have a one night stand and then the next day go out and meet someone that they fall in love with and marry? And everyone's like, yeah,
Yeah,
kind of. I mean,
100%.
it shouldn't be a scandal. They came on the show, hopefully with their minds open to say, yeah, whatever happened in the past didn't work. So I'm going to try this. If she was in love with somebody, then that's a whole different scandal, and I don't think that she would have been on the show because it would have been, as a woman, I can't, I don't understand the whole bachelor, bachelorette type of thing because I can't be in love with more than one person at once. It just doesn't
Same.
work for me. So none
Well,
of
I guess
that I
that's actually
count.
not true. I said same, and then I was in love with two women in the pods, but
Oh,
generally,
but you know what I mean.
it's
That's in the
different. Yeah,
pods
yeah.
where you
I'm,
actually don't know all the facts yet. So like
yeah,
had you
yeah,
had them on a platter in front of you, you probably could have
sure.
decided,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? But so anyway, I thought the level of jealousy made him look so ridiculous. And he's such a good looking guy. And I think that really hurt him. I mean, his level came down like immediately because he wouldn't shut up about it. Wait, I'm dying to know about the other guy. Was he good looking?
No, no, no. So this is what's really funny. I don't even know his name. I
Okay.
just have seen his photo shared on TikTok. He made like weird videos. Like there was one video where he was like in a podcast studio, but like looking like he was gonna sit down to record a podcast, but it was like a fake clip of him like almost like teasing a podcast that didn't happen, but then like trying to get on podcast. It's almost like the videos that have like that show that like repost him and talk
Right.
about him are
Right.
not tagging his handle, I think, to like not give him the clout. But the guy seems like, to be honest, a bit of a goober. Um, yeah, it's no,
I
but
love that word.
yeah, I know, but it was super uncool with David. He's also like essentially like implying that she's like doesn't have like womanly morals, from like no, that was super super uncool. Where I do find a bit of understanding for Dave, this one specific incident
Okay.
is I see all this stuff with like his sister and like he keeps mentioning his sister, and like all these comments are like, dude, are you in love with your sister? Like, where's
Right.
your sister? I feel bad. First of all, I feel bad for Dave's sister because she didn't ask for this, and now like so that's the first thing, and the second is
Right. Because she has such a bad edit. Also, everyone's like, Dave's sister sucks.
she wasn't even in the show.
Right. Right.
So she's wondering, like, if someone finds out because his last name
I
is
should
like,
try and get her on the show just to find out who she
I'm
is.
sure a lot of people have tried to get her on.
Right. That's so funny.
um, but again, he should have pushed his sister to meet her. That no excuse for that.
Right.
But I got sort of a bit of a, I would almost say cartoonish edit in the pods. I seemed like the guy who every 2 seconds he's talking about money. Like he can't stop talking. He can't stop about like if he mentions his sister 6 times over the course. I mean, over the course of a couple weeks building up to this thing, they can make it seem like he's just talking about it all day. So
Right.
I was probably more balanced. I think in the reunion, he did a decent job of taking accountability. He seemed remorseful, but he still tried to blame the guy a little bit. He should have been like, it was totally my fault. Like for,
Well, again,
oh,
it's been a year, like you said. And for him to say, well, I've had a lot of clarity in the last 2 weeks. What? I mean, it's
yeah,
really been on your mind for a year. And you only got clarity 2 weeks ago.
it's a
I
great
don't know.
point.
I found it, really gross, kind of. By the way, and again, she looked phenomenal at the reunion. And I just, I felt sort of bad for her because it seemed like he was making her out to be, the reason or the cause in this situation. And it was 100% him. So I don't
Yeah.
think she got a fair deal on that show. The other thing, Dan wanted to come in here and give his hot take because his hot take is he's like, I have to say it.
Uh-huh.
And his is as a a guy watching this, an
Sure.
outsider, he's like, this guy had no balls. He spent the entire time at the end of being in the pods when he was breaking up with, I think her name was Molly, right?
Yes.
The redhead. Dan said it was so obvious that he made Molly have to ask him, so are you breaking up with me? Like he didn't have the balls just to come out and say to Molly, it's over,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And it seems like from the second he saw Lauren, he just wanted to figure out a way to get out of it by blaming her or making her have to make that decision again. And he's like, if you don't want to be with somebody, just tell them. And, you don't have to hurt their feelings about it, but like, let's be clear about it. And he just came out as a guy that seemed like he had no balls. And Dan was just like, this guy's just a jerk, you know. So he felt really bad for Lauren. So that's, you know, a hot take from a 57-year-old guy.
That
But
that's a fair
and
point
I
about the
and I
flirting. Yeah.
agree. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that he it seems like a pattern for Dave, in my opinion.
Mm, yeah. I actually was surprised. I actually, I guess to each their own. I actually thought Lauren was one of the prettiest on the show.
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I
Well,
actually
there
thought he
you
was going
go.
to really be in. I thought he was going to really be into her looks wise. Maybe he was, and still just maybe he just didn't want to get married. Maybe it's so tough. There's so much that happens behind the scenes that you just never hear about. That's
So,
so
so
tricky.
actually, let's get into that. Will you tell us behind the scenes what it's like? First of all, how are most people? It sounds like, and people that I've interviewed on the show, it sounds like a lot of people are actually contacted. They don't do, you know, the submissions as much as we think. So, how did you get on the show? How are most people found on the show?
So most people are found on the show because they are contacted,
Mhm.
and they get contacted through like dating apps, LinkedIn, Instagram, like any and all things. I actually applied on a total whim, and I believe of the 15 guys that were on the show, only two were there by applying. So in that sense, I guess I was very rare for me. And I mean, I don't think anybody that like as someone who applied, I didn't expect to get on. Like I don't think
Right.
anybody does. I
Were
didn't even
you
expect to
shocked
hear
when you heard back from them?
totally. I was shocked to hear back from them. And the other thing is like the casting process takes like a year. Like
Mm.
there's so many interviews and questions, and I know there's always things that come out like they don't do any due diligence. It's hard to know everything in somebody's life.